videos during these COVID times. You're going to see a little bit of an experiment. I'm going to see if you can still hear me through the mask adequately as I go through and demo. So bear with me. Hopefully the audio portion of this turns out well. First video, I want to go through the big differences between a squat and a deadlift. Okay, there are two distinct patterns, but depending on the style of squat or the style of deadlift you're doing, they do tend to start to blend together a little. So for the differences, to emphasize the differences, I'm going to use probably the two most extreme forms of these exercises. I'm going to use a front-loaded squat, okay, a goblet squat. It could be a front barbell squat, but a front-loaded squat and a Romanian deadlift, okay? And again, that's because those two are the more extreme versions of each exercise. So hopefully we can give you the best understanding of the differences between the two. So to start with, let's do a goblet squat. All right. So goblet squat. That kettlebell, dumbbell, whatever you're using, it's going to stay here in front of the sternum. Okay, I'll turn and give you the side view because that's where the differences are going to be found. Shoulders back, core is engaged. Some people stand like this. Don't let that happen. Tighten up those abs and those glutes so you're standing nice and tall. My feet are shoulder width, a little wider, toes turned out slightly. Now, the emphasis on the squat is about how low your hips will drop. So as I drop into that squat, I'm going to keep everything engaged. I'm going to sink those hips back and down at full depth. You might notice I pull my shoulder blades back. Hopefully my spine is fairly neutral. And my shins and spine are parallel to each other. Alright? Sharp exhale as I come up out of it. Squeezing glutes to come up. And breathing through the mouth with a fist. Alright. Gotta get that mask to stay in place. So once again, I'm going to pop that up. I'm going to engage everything. Elbows are in tight. Shoulders are back. Abs are engaged. Glutes are engaged. I'm going to try and let my hamstrings pull me down into that squat. Now you may notice my hips went backwards first. That's always going to happen. That is a common thing between both squats and deadlifts. The hips initially go backwards. That's what's going to open up room to make this happen. All right, back, but then down, full depth. Squeeze the glutes, come up. All right, now let's compare that to the deadlift. In a deadlift, it's not how low the hips will get. It's about how far back the hips can go. So in a hip hinge, if I'm lifting a heavy weight, I want to be right on top of that weight. I want it under my center of gravity. So I do not want to do a deadlift with it out in front of me. Therefore, I'm going to stand right on top of that kettlebell. Okay. Now, instead of dropping to pick up that kettlebell, I'm going to make my hips go backwards. So again, squeeze abs, squeeze glutes, shoulders back and down. Now I'm going to send those hips backwards. All right? You'll notice my knees are bending. Okay? Even in a Romanian deadlift, knees are going to bend. Okay? You will not have totally stiff leg. Okay? But I'm going to keep reaching back with those hips, vertical shins, until I can grab that kettlebell. Once I grab that kettlebell, there's a phrase called breaking the bar. I'm going to try and bend that handle. If I was grabbing a barbell, I'd be trying to bend it around the shins. So I'm going to tighten that up. You'll notice that is contracting my lats, back wall, and armpits. Then I drive my heels into the ground and squeeze the glutes. Come all the way up. I tuck that tailbone at the top and come all the way up. To reverse it, I keep that neutral spine. I keep the back wall of the armpit engaged. Squeeze the glutes, drive the heels through the floor to come up. Tuck that tailbone at the top. Reverse it to go back down. Alright, so if you've noticed, in a squat, my hips are dropping. Yes, they start backwards initially, but they're dropping. In a deadlift, hips are going backwards. Alright, and that's going to be a general pattern we're going to follow through with. Once again, I'm going to use a deadlift pattern to pull the kettlebell up, but once again, in my squat, I can't just go straight down. If I go straight down, I've driven my knees forward. In fact, I can't without letting my hips go back. I've driven my knees forward. My heels will probably have to come off the ground. That is why we let the hips go backwards slightly first. It opens up room in those hips So you can drop in there and get those parallel lines between the shin and the spine all the way down. Sharp exhale all the way up. All right, back to the deadlift. Again, deadlift, stand directly over the weight. Okay, reach back with hips. Once everything's engaged, you got that good tall posture. Reach back with the hips. Grab that weight. Squeeze the glutes, come up. Reach back with the hips. Squeeze the glutes, come up. Now, if you have poor hip flexibility, hamstrings are really tight, you may only get to here. Okay, you may not get all the way down. A Romanian deadlift actually technically starts at the top. You're focused on the negative. You're focused on how deep the hinge can go, stretching those hamstrings with a neutral spine. Don't reach for the floor. As soon as I did that, you saw me round up. I want those shoulders pinned back. Break the bar, squeeze the lats, squeeze the glutes, drive the heels through the floor. And reach back. So there's the major differences technique-wise. Difference in terms of muscle development. Squats are quad dominant exercise. You're working on your quads. Okay? Deadlift, glutes and hamstrings, posterior chain. But in both of them, hopefully you notice, I'm trying to maintain a neutral spine. Okay? Spine comes down at an angle in my squat. Spine reaches back in my deadlift. All right, thanks.